New year, new business. This is a video that will share with you what you need to do to set up your business so the financial administration and other things are set up correctly. I do regular updates on tax and accounting issues, so if you'd like to be kept up to date, please press the subscribe button. And if you like the video, it helps the channel and it helps me, so thank you. So what do you need to do if you're setting up your new business? Well, first of all, congratulations. Because if you're actually setting up your business, then you've done something that most people don't do. Most businesses fail because they're never created in the first place. So if you're actually starting, you've taken the first big step and jumped over the most important hurdle. So congratulations. Having made that decision, the next thing to consider is the structure of the business. Now, I was thinking the most important thing with the structure is not actually a financial accounting thing. It's actually more of a legal issue, and that's about limited liability. So if you want to protect yourself personally from the liabilities of the business, then having limited liability actually is more important than any other stuff. So a sole trader or a simple partnership does not have limited liability. That means if the business incurs debts, ultimately they can fall back on you personally. Whereas a limited liability or a limited liability partnership, you get some protection from those liabilities. And if that's your concern, then that sort of washes over all other things. So having said that, I think simplicity is important. If you're having a very micro business, then simplicity becomes even more important because the costs of complexity are not diluted by a bigger business. The smaller it is, the more concentrated they are. So therefore, and the costs associated with more complexity. So that's why for very micro businesses, they tend to go to a sole trader, and then as they get bigger, there is a tendency to go towards limited companies. So the next thing that you've got to think about is whether you need to register for VAT. VAT, if you're doing a turnover 85,000 in any 365-day period, or it's likely to happen quite soon, then you may have to think about registering VAT or registering quite soon for VAT, particularly if you've got business clients who themselves are VAT registered. So don't forget the VAT. And then there are other things that you need to do apart from the company before we get to the tax. So you've got to make sure you're insured. You'll have to open a bank account, which they'll do a credit check, so you've got to have decent credit history to open a bank account, business bank account, get your domain name, so get all of that sort of stuff sorted. And then let's look at the tax effects of whether you should be a sole trader or a limited company, a limited liability partnership. It has actually got quite a bit more complicated, so it can't actually be answered. It cannot be answered in a very direct way. It's not obvious that I can give it in a video. The advice has to be personal now, so that's something that we go through when we have initial meetings with people who are setting up in business. Generally, if you're micro, you've got some lower costs, which is helpful. If you're going to be bigger, and particularly if you're going to pay higher rate tax, then having a limited company can be useful for two main reasons. Firstly, because you choose whether to pay high rate tax. The company makes profits, you pay some tax on that, but you only pay the high rate tax when you take the money out of the company, so that is a choice. Whereas in a sole trade, you make the profit and immediately it's taxed at the highest rates. The other thing is if you're going to retain some of those profits and not take them out, and you're going to retain them for the long term to build the business, then those retained profits are not taxed at a higher rate until you take them out of the company. And that can be a really helpful way in which you can build capital in a limited company, but not in a sole trade or a partnership. And then there are sort of like minor things. So if it's possible that you're going to make losses, then that could affect things. Very often losses in the first years are better in a sole trade, but that depends on your personal tax situation in previous years. Company cars have now got a bit more complicated with the quite beneficial treatment of electric cars, so that's another thing to look at. So there's quite a few little nuanced things just to make sure that you get the structure right for you. So then once you've got that set up, the other bit of financial administration is bookkeeping. Bookkeeping sounds quite difficult and complicated, but all it is just recording the transactions. So like level 0 bookkeeping is just not keeping your stuff, so we don't do that. Level 1 is just keeping your stuff, so at least we can go back and do it. but we can do better than that. Level 2 is at least putting it on a spreadsheet, so you've got a well organised and orderly list of all the transactions that you've made, which helps you and it helps the accountants. And then the next level is software, and software can help you run your business through the accounts and helps you understand all the transactions and helps analyse it, and hopefully saves your accountant time and therefore some money. So those are like different levels of bookkeeping. That's something that we can discuss, which is the most appropriate for you. So there we have it. Congratulations if you're setting up a new business. I wish you the best of luck. I think it's one of the best things you can do with your time, your professional time and your time at work. So I hope that it's successful and I wish you every luck. If you'd like to discuss any of these things, then please, you know where we are. We do regular updates, so subscribe to the channel and we can keep you up to date. And if you press the like button, it helps the channel, it helps me, so thank you.